Okay, everybody, I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to be taking the coil out. Now, if you had one blow out, you ain't going to have to do this because it's going to break out of there. That's a 7mm that I'm using to take the bolt out. My air compressor is running. That's why I'm doing a voiceover. Yeah, you're going to need air for this job. That's how you blow the chips out whenever you get done. Standard wiring harness has a little push button clip. You want to be careful whenever you start to pull the coil out because those boots like to come off. So take a little patience, wiggle it around a little bit, and she should pop out. Well, like I said, if you're looking at this, it's most likely blown apart. And it's just a 5/8 spark plug socket. After I get the spark plug out, I'm going to send you down inside the cylinder so you can see not only the threads, the reason why these blow out, and you're also going to see if the valves are open or not, and if there's anything else nasty that we need to know about inside there. Here I am, I think I'm funny. The light that's on this camera is a little bit bright. I actually have a mirrored lens that hooks up to it that points it at a 90-degree angle. Now you'll see there's like only 4 or 5 threads there, which there's way more on a spark plug. This is the reason why they end up blowing out. And there's the valve, it's open. You got to make sure these valves are closed whenever you go to do this job, because you're basically removing metal so you can put a stainless steel insert in. This is the cylinder leak down tester. And you gotta plug it in where that spark plug would go. Let's make sure it's in there good. I'm going to use the bump start method versus using the socket on the crank. Anyway, we're going to put air through here, and then once the piston goes to bottom dead center and it's on its way back up for the compression stroke, both valves will be closed and this air line should pop out. So we'll turn on the air. Okay, if you wanted to use a wrench on the crankshaft bolt. That's an 18 millimeter. You notice the change in the sound of the air. That meant that I definitely got it where I needed it to be. It's actually supposed to pop right on out. We're going to double check with our cam to make sure we're good to go. As you see, the valve's up now. That is the guide, and the flat part of the guide goes towards the cylinder head. It's not going to fit exactly the way it should, but it's going to work perfect. You got to wiggle it down in there, make sure it's all the way in. And this is what they're calling the drill bit. And it has a pin on it that will allow it not to drop into the cylinder. The head of this bit is a 13 millimeter. You definitely want to use something with high torque so you can cut. It says to use cutting oil. I chose not to because then you have to clean the oil out in order for the JB weld to work. That fast. I mean, you could use the cutting oil, you just have to go in with some brake clean, and then you'd have to make sure all that stuff's out of there, possibly even change the oil. I just basically saved myself a few extra steps. Now I'm going to take you down inside to show you the shavings. And as you can see, there is a lot of metal in there. You've got to get all this stuff out, guys. You want to take most of your time spent blowing all this stuff out, going back in, making sure everything's out. You see it just looks like a snow globe coming out of there. This is a 1/4-inch aluminum tube that came in the blowgun kit. Easily bent so you can get down in there. I'm not going to show you this completely. It actually took me a good while to get all these chips out. It's best to get it out now before you do the tapping. And the air compressor's on. There's the guide. With the tap, you actually have to slip it through the underside of the guide and use that E-clip on the very first groove. That way you don't drop it down in. It's also a 13 millimeter on top of the tap. I used an impact and ran through there. You can actually do this with a regular ratchet if you prefer. Now I took this all the way in. You don't necessarily have to do that. I actually went in so far that the E-clip actually came out of the tool, and I just got very, very lucky that it didn't drop in there. Granted, I'm sure I could have got it out, but yeah, this is why you see me right now having a hard time. I actually pulled up on it to try to start threading it back through. They say use the top groove for that E-clip, but I was kind of wondering if you shouldn't use that second one. But following the instructions, you'll be fine. This is the Calvan kit, by the way. It is the best kit out there for this particular job. After I get this out of here, I'm going to take you back down inside to show you the shavings from the tap. And I do blow this all out too. I ended up having to take a little hook tool on my camera to grab some of the chunks out of there manually. I just didn't show that part. Figured this video is going to be long enough.
Okay, so what you want to do, I'm repairing a cylinder that is, it was not damaged. I'm doing this just so you guys get to see how it's done. Anyway, you want to put your spark plug in your spark plug socket, of course. But you want to take the threads that they give you in the Calvan kit and just make sure they go on nice and smooth. You know, you got to double check their machining. But it's a stainless steel insert, so this is going to be permanent. A permanent fix, rather. Anyway, in the kit it'll tell you you need to put some JB Weld along here. That way it'll seal itself to the head and it'll stay there. It'll bond. It'll be there. I've seen some people use red thread locker, sorry, I can't talk, and put it on here. I mean, they like literally like gooped it on there, and that's probably a good idea also. Use a combination of the two. Make sure your JB Weld gets in here, so when it butts up against the head, it'll seal it there and bond. And then make sure you put your thread locker all in there. I can't take credit for this. I watched a video where the guy did this, and I figured I'd do it for you guys to pass it along. The more people should do this and pass it along, the better. But anyway, JB Weld is a pretty easy product to mess around with. I'm just going to use the package as my little mixing spot. Anyhow, it's a two-part epoxy is what it is. So, however much you use of one tube, you want to make sure you put about the same with the other. The one tube will stay steel, the other one will stay hardener. And now you just simply mix. You could use a screwdriver if you want. You want to mix it until you get a nice consistent gray color. I'm trying to do this like I would Bondo. But honestly, that's pretty much how you would treat it. Till you get that nice consistent gray color. There's still a little bit of swirl marks in there. There we go. And I found the easiest way to do is to get it on the end of my applicator and just let it roll on out. It's about the best way of doing it. It don't matter if you get it on the threads, because once you thread it in there, it's golden, you know what I mean? This is the idea. We're fixing Ford's screw up. We want it to be a part of the cylinder head. That way, when you change your spark plugs out, you will not have that problem ever again. Alright, I am going to go ahead and zip this up in there. See if I can get you guys in. Not quite. Well, you'll get the picture. My thread locker is sealed up on me. Well, that sucks. Alright, I'm gonna cut out for a minute. Alright, well, I had to go grab my my blue Loctite. But something's better than nothing. Anyhow, get it down in there. thread it in by hand. Free torque specs, guys. They say anywhere from 17 to 25 foot-pounds, if I ain't mistaken. But in all seriousness, you know what? Let me get another extension. All right. In all seriousness, if you just grab it with the palm of your hand, that honestly should be good. We're going to give it a little bit more though, simply because this is a repair sleeve. Alright, that should be good. So yeah, you use your spark plug to install the insert. And make sure you get none of that stuff on the spark plug threads themselves. Or you're going to cause yourself problems. Okay, now I will be showing you what actually happened to my coil and my spark plug, and also I'll be showing what happened to the helicoil kit that I used, and I forgot to use the sealant on the threads. So I will add that in here so you guys get a look. You may see it beforehand. I ain't sure yet. I don't know how the edit's gonna come out. But anyway, this thing is fixed. I hope you appreciate it, because I tried my best. I tried my best to get the camera in there so you can see everything. It's very, very hard to do. I do have a borescope that I can hook up to my phone, so you'll get to see some shots of that. And yes, you definitely should have that whenever you're doing this job. That's the reason why I'm going to tell you that this is going to either make you think about having somebody pay somebody to fix it, or if you're going to actually do it yourself. There are some technical tools you're going to need, like that borescope, and you can get lucky and find some cameras like that. I think that little camera I bought for this phone that I can hook up is like it was like $50, and it's not the greatest, but it does what I need it to do, and that's look inside there and see what's going on. You've seen all the chips in the video come blowing out of there. So yeah, you gotta do a lot of cleaning. That's the hardest part of this job. All right, I guess I'll see you in the next video, and like always, if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe. I can always use more subscribers. I haven't hit that mark yet, so my videos are pretty much whenever I can get them out. So until I get monetized, it's pretty much gotta keep an eye out for my videos. So bye.